Alrighty, PG-13. This is Delta17. Now, what I'd like to see for the line is some Red Dawn stuff. So I hope you're listening, Steve, because this helicopter, you know, you can seat 2 or 4 in the front, it all depends. And then you can have some compartment room in the back to fit a few more figures. Or maybe just do the 2 pilots in the front and then seat 4 in the back, so you can have 6 figures for this vehicle. But it has to be the original Red Dawn. I think it's an Mi-24. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the chopper for the Russians. And since you have Russians in the line, definitely want to see some maybe MiGs. Some of those Russian tanks. What else? Obviously, the helicopter is number 1. Then, you know, some Russian tanks, some troop transports. For the good guys, the Delta17, I want to see a Harley or an Indian motorcycle. And yes, it can have a sidecar. And people love the motorbike, Steve. So motorbikes are a huge hit. If you wanted to make the mold for the helicopter plus the mold for the motorcycle 2-in-1 vehicle set, that would work. Because then not only will people buy lots, I know I will. I'll buy a few for sure. Definitely, most definitely. But if you want to have them vehicles separate, that's just fine too, because I love getting these motorcycles just like the Ram cycle, but you know, like a real cool motorcycle would rock for the Delta17 figures. And I do want to see the Arnold Schwarzenegger figure from that movie that's similar to this guy. Oh, I just forget the name right now. Remember Sally, I lied. La, la. You said you'd kill me last. I lied. La, la. So, as well as from the movie Red Dawn, maybe we can get a couple Cubans that are the winter Russian ones, the communist Cubans, with those fuzzy hats. You know, that would fit into this, as well as a heavy machine gunner and a tank driver. You know how they have those little hats, those tank hats. And yes, we know that Callsign Longbow will be doing some of those figures as well. These guys are futuristic, so definitely the Shadow Dragon leader, we want to see a helmet you can remove with a face. People are already asking, they want to see his face. So now it is awesome that these figures' compatibility with the Joes is just phenomenal, because they do fit the backpacks, they do fit the weapons, and the Bat's hands will fit with Onami's hands, as well as Onami's weapons and attachments. So we've covered that, and thanks to Punk with Toys, that inspired the idea to try some more other stuff out. So, as well as any G.I.Joe vehicle you want to reproduce, you just change it by 25%, just like what Hasbro did to Star Wars. And that's how you get around with there's no copyright or infringement if you change a vehicle or anything by 25%. So it is that simple. Now, since it takes place in the 80s, we're looking at 80s style vehicles. So people would like a Hummer, people would like also a MASH ambulance. I know I would. And for the futuristic aspect, you could always give us an Aliens type APC. You know, as well as stealth fighters, because all this stealth type technology is 50 years old. So if it came out in the 90s, that means it would have been made 50 years before that. So you could have experimental stuff as well for the team, and you can have them, the Shadow Dragons, They can also have a little bit of advanced technology, but always camouflage everything, because we love our camouflage paint jobs. And, you know, I do want to see a Harley or an Indian motorcycle. That would be just the ultimate, because these figures would look sick on it. It's just beautiful. What else would we like to see? You could even make an, what is it, F-18, or you can even make a Tomcat. You just have to change 25%. After all, it is a military line. A Vietnam type PT boat that's similar to the size of a hydrofoil would work. What else could we use here? A military helicopter that you can fit a small Delta Force Jeep in, because you know how they have those Delta Force style dune buggies. It is a Delta Force team, so you do need some Delta Force buggies as well as motorcycles. The Cobra attack helicopter, but you can definitely design it better than Hasbro did. Apache helicopter would be ideal, and like I said, since the technology was 50 years old, that helicopter will fall into the 1980s line. Obviously, because 1980s to the 90s, so that could easily fit into the line. A real cool Apache helicopter. Oh yes, we'll definitely need some rocket launching vehicles. Bradleys for sure. Bradley's a type of transport you could use for the Delta team. Let Steve know in the comments down below what type of vehicles you'd like to see, as well as figures. So definitely some Red Dawn figures for the winter. With RPGs for sure. That'd be awesome. And as well as heavy machine gunners for both sides. I mean, you know, the guy with the bullets always across his chest just makes sense. You know, heavy machine gunners for both sides. Do you want to use a 50 cal or 20? Is it 30 cal? No, it is 50 cal for sure. Is the biggest bullets. What else could be used for the line? But yes, I want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger from that movie. I just forget it. Forget the name of that movie. Remember, Sally? I told you I'd kill you last. I lied. So he almost looks like Sally. A little bit. Not. He didn't have a beard though. But you know what I'm saying. What else could they use for the line? Maybe F-18s, F-15s, F-14s. You got a wide range of vehicles. Tanks for sure, the Abrams tank. And you could always do the, you know, have the bad guys break into a museum if you want to bring into World War II tanks. So you can, World War II Russian tanks, German tanks, Sherman tanks, you know. There's all sorts of aspects if you write certain things into the comic. Aliens APC, just change it a little bit, 25%, and then it is not copyright. As well as a Hummer. But like I said, I love MASH. I would love to see some 1950s style vehicles, especially a 1950s ambulance. That would be friggin' awesome. For sure, the Huey is number one. I mean, these guys are from the 80s, so Huey would be number one on the list. As well as a helicopter transport vehicle that you could maybe load a small vehicle into, like a night landing craft. You know, simple little raft that fits in the helicopter. 2-in-1 vehicle right there. Boom! Apache is also number one, as well as the Huey. And a PT boat the size of, if I've already said it, the size of the hydrofoil. And you know, future later down the line, maybe we can get a aircraft carrier or a battleship. something fantastic. But you know, this is a Delta Force, but there is other military in the line, as well as for a base, have a base that you can always add more components to. So that would be just awesome, as well as, you know, those, you know, outposts, towers and stuff like that. And everybody needs a jail cell for their base. Where are you gonna lock up the bad guys? So there's a lot of cool vehicles you can make for the line, but definitely a Bradley is also like a transport, as well as a transport. We need a transport, maybe 6-wheel or 8-wheeled vehicle. Transport for both sides. Each side needs similar type transport. I mean, there is a lot of cool Russian vehicles you can throw into the mix, and there's tons of cool vehicles you could throw into the Delta17 side. So I'm just trying to think what else. Let me know down below in the comments, because Steve does read them. We need a Russian tank driver, and yes, Callsign Longbow is making some of these figures as well. But you know, you can never get enough. So big deal if they make one. You just make it with a beret or a different hat. You know, every line will just add more to it anyways. You can even make similar or the same figures, and people are still going to buy them because they're always going to be a little bit different from each other. So I can't wait till we get Callsign Longbow as well. That'll just complement these awesome figures. And I think if they're made in the same factory or similar factory, we're going to get the same type of great awesome figures. The only weapon I don't recommend is Jaguar's weapon. I've left the weapons in the hands long enough just to see, and it does stretch his finger, so I don't recommend this one. But all the rest, perfect. The handle is a little too thick for this, even though it fits in nice. It is a little thicker. You might want to put some in grooves into this handle. That's the only one that shows wear. All the rest are perfect. Anything else that you can think of for the line? Maybe a Navy SEAL diver. What else? I definitely want an Arnold Schwarzenegger Commando from the movie Commando. That's why I couldn't remember that name. It's so obvious. Anyways. Oh, what else? We definitely need a ninja for the bad guys. Bad guys always need a ninja. And the Joes need a Bruce Lee. Oh, yes. Can you imagine? Or Chuck Norris. Probably, or both combined. Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. The dual team for Delta17. And, you know, Chuck Norris was also part of the original Delta Force. So Chuck Norris needs to be in this line. And you can always throw in your Mr. T guy and name him Spike. Just leave off the gold. That's right, I pitied the fool that doesn't put me into the line. You hear me, Steve? We need a Mr. T. You could sign him on pretty easily. That would be great. Anyways, thank you, Steve, again for the donations. And I will be mentioning and talking about Delta17 figures no matter what, because I just love them. They are awesome figures. People want a leader, so they want to see his face, so you want to make a removable helmet for the leader in the future lines. Definitely need more Russian troops, and maybe some camouflaged ones as well. Alrighty, thanks for watching. We're out of time once again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and Army Build. Get your Delta17 figures today. Check out my other videos.